What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another video where we are continuing on with prepping the RB20. Hopefully going to put it in the hole for once and for all very shortly.
No fucking way.
So I thought I'd just bring everyone up to speed with where we're at and what we're doing. So I've retimed it and I've put all the niggly little bits on that will be a pain in the ass to do once she's in there for good. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed she doesn't have to come out again anytime soon. So I'm sure it's inevitable that it will have to come out at some point, but hey, cross that bridge when we come to it. But the latest little battle that I have been getting through is this damn gearbox. So I've gone with the Navara gearbox. Pretty common kind of upgrade these days with the RB25 boxes getting expensive. So basically, if you can find a bow housing, it effectively bolts up to a D22 Navara gearbox. So that's what we have here. I got it all freshly serviced and what have you from Casper Transmissions up in Auckland. And I pretty much bought it as a complete item. I did whack in the extra steel or steel billet, whatever you want to call it, third or fourth selector. It's quite often known for braking, so got that in there. Hopefully this thing should be bulletproof. But I've just been funny little weird issues. The clutch pivot fork, or whatever you want to call it, the little knob that sits inside the gearbox that the clutch fork rests on, was over one. There was two positions where it could be, and the original one, you'll see in the clip, there was like sort of an indent, like a little hole there, ready for it to be tapped. So that's what we did, and it seems to be working fine. But I was hoping to get this in last night, but sort of came across that and had to do a bit of research. Didn't find anything, but sort of came up with my own solution of maybe that's what needed to happen, and sure enough, she's $1 million. So I'm not sure if the Navara gearbox have like an offset clutch fork, or like it must do, or maybe the bell housing's just different and the fork comes out in a different position. That's probably more accurate, actually, thinking about it now, because essentially it's the whole internals of a Navara box with the 25 bell housing. So anywho, we got that on there anyway, and everything else is looking pretty good. We've got it all timed up. We've got our new timing belt, our new idlers. Well, not new idlers, they're the same ones that were on it from the last rebuild, but it only did 2 track days, so I figure that's good enough. And I thought we'd just get up to speed with where we're going to go to from here, and give everyone a bit of a rundown. So it should all come together pretty quick now once we can get this thing in there. I'm absolutely dreading it. I've never had a big box before, so even just getting it on the arse end of the motor there was a bit of a mish. Like the sheer weight of the dog is just fucking unreal. So managed to grunt it on there, and hopefully she's good. It's got a brand new Exceedi single plate heavy duty clutch on there, so fingers crossed it doesn't have to come out. ARP hardware all through, so we should be looking pretty good. There's not a lot else to talk about at the minute. Oh, we've got a Nismo long throw slave cylinder. It was recommended to go for one of these. Don't ask me why, but they say that they're longer throw, so we're gonna got that on there. Got our baffled sump. Not a lot that I haven't talked about already, I don't think, or maybe I haven't talked about it at all. Can't really remember, but big baffled sump there. It should hold 7 litres or so. Ooh, sounds like Mr. Ribs kicking off. He'll be right. I've got heater line delete in here. Just tapped a 3/8 or 3/4 drive thread in there, so then got a little AN fitting that'll go from there to there. I'll run an AN line at some point. That can happen later once we get it in. And it'll go onto an RB30 oil filter stud there as well, so we can run the oil filter hard up against the block. Quite often RB20s and everything else, they have that little housing that it's kind of unnecessary. So we've got one of them. We're not actually going to run the filter. It'll go against the sandwich plate that will feed our oil cooler lines. And then apart from that, she's all pretty good. Got the head drain on there. Debating whether I redo this, because obviously our exhaust system is going to be here, so not too sure. I should probably do something about that now before we get too ahead of things, because that ain't coming off once she's in. There's no way that's coming out. So I guess you could unbolt it off the mounts and sort of lean it forward and get a spanner in there, but yeah, we'll deal with that. But and we have, obviously, in true fashion, we've been doing last little bits of painting, so you'll all be relatively familiar now that I'm quite fond of the old gun. So I've painted the timing covers. I've actually done them twice. I originally did them with a red flake, wasn't into it, and I've gone ahead and gone with the gold just to blend it in with the theme. Now I'm a bit unsure about them, to be honest. It's like they're a hell of a lot more deep. I don't know if it's pure layers of paint or what, but I might end up doing the rocket covers again. Don't know. We'll get it all together anyway. We can do that later, but been doing a bit of that, doing a bit of that, doing a bit of this. And hopefully in the next clip after this, you'll see me and hopefully a mate trying to lug this thing in. I got no idea how this is going to go, to be fair. This thing is so much weight behind it, but I'm sure plenty of people have done it before, so should be right. I'm going to have to move the car backwards, which is painful because someone didn't fucking get rid of that when I did the shed floor. Like a fucking idiot. So I'm going to have to put the car down, move it back, get it up on stands again. Yeah. The dilemmas of it all, I tell ya. But anywho, check back soon once we've got this thing semi more good to go. Cheers. Looking pretty good. So we got it in all pretty sweet. I managed to just do it by myself. I had a mate lined up to come around tonight to give me a hand. I've kind of got a bit of time up my sleeve today, so I thought I'd just give it a go myself. But note to future self, or anyone else that tries to do this, maybe don't do it with the carpet down, because when the crane gets stuck on the carpet, it makes you want to punch yourself in the face. So yeah, so that was a little bit challenging there. I had to fucking teeter it in and then teeter it out. And yeah, the floor's absolute pain in the ass, but she's all good. It's in there now. All looking pretty sweet, I think. I'm awfully surprised at how well this gearbox is actually fitting in. We're not actually too far off at all, so I knew that I was going to have to cut a little bit. So hopefully only out to about there, and then I can do a bit of a remote shifter. And the mount that I've got here looks pretty good too. So I think, I don't even know what this is. I'm not very up with the play with the old mounts, with the old mountus. But I think it's a B. I got no idea, to be honest. I'm not even going to try, but it looks like she should be money as well. That's what we've got, and that's how it's going to sit. So once I cut that out more and actually get the box up in there, I mean, maybe it might be a little bit off, but you can wiggle it. I don't know. If not, we'll be able to modify this pretty easily, I think. Absolutely unreal. So now it's back to the waiting game, unfortunately. We've just got to wait for the manifold to get back before we can put that on again to make sure that it's definitely going to fit. It should fit. We've taken quite a bit off and we've repositioned the wastegate and all that shit. So yeah, I think we've saved it, but a little bit stressful there. So obviously get the crane out and yeah, bit of a tutor around, position up a few things. Maybe I've got some hardware for the front timing covers at the zinc coaters at the moment, so waiting for them to be ready, and then we can put our timing covers on and get everything on for the final time. Probably won't be the final time. I've just noticed another thing. This the head drain is not really going to be sufficient either. That's a little bit annoying after I literally said, oh, it might not actually be too bad. Nah, I'll probably have to do something with that. We might be alright if I don't want to make it too tight because then you're going to wring its nuts. But maybe if we get that in there, and I don't want to do anything too hoary, but you could potentially try and tuck it in there and get it to stay by form of some kind of clip. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But let's actually, yeah, I don't actually know. I think it won't be too bad though if we do have to make it shorter because we can still get to one end. So I can cut that off and trim it down a bit and put the fitting back on. But yeah, if I'm going to get that, if I've got to get to that back fitting, then it's just going to be a bit of a bitch. I have to literally take the whole thing out again, or position it back. Yeah, but pretty good, looking pretty good. So continue on to re-examine a few things, mock a few things up. But we've got fab happening next week, so my mate's coming up from down the line, and he's going to start hooking into getting all the fabrication done. So hopefully, I keep saying this, but it should come together pretty quick now. So, and then we just wire it up and figure out the rest and we'll be away. Look at the debris. Son of a cigarette. So as you can see, we've been moving on with the fabrication. Me mate Jack here has come up on a special journey from Napier to get all this done for me. So we've got the GDR intercooler all mounted. It's been a bit of a palaver with these bends and angles and what have you, but we've managed to get it sorted. And she's starting to come together. 3.5 inch downpipe down there. Nice little screamy. Should melt the shit out of the paint. I'll have to do something about that. Yeah, she's looking bloody good. What do we got going on, mate?
Tackle this exhaust, I suppose.
Yeah, beauty.
Do a bit of a lie down.
Bit of a lie down. I can earn the rest after this, I tell ya.
Lie down, then beer and sit down.
A beer. Beer and a sit down. Fuck yeah. Oh, she's coming together. So as you can see, it's all pretty obvious stuff, but we've got 2.5 inch stainless on both sides. On the cooler side, we've got a 3 inch intake. All pretty normal stuff, but we have gone stainless instead of alley. I did think about doing the alley thing, but I kind of just like the look of the stainless, if I'm completely honest. They say there's better heating properties with alley, don't they, mate?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're not going to be pushing crazy numbers, so I'm not really too bothered. She should look pretty nice once she's all blazed up. And the time he's doing that, I've been fluffing around with this damn gearbox mount. Oh, which fucking the bro just needs now. So obviously with the Navara gearbox, got a bit more girth to it. So I've had to modify this. I've cut it up a few times, but starting to get the picture. Oh, like so. Should give us the drop down. Put a little mountus on there. We should be a beauty. But I'm going to carry on here. Touch back once we've got a bit more done. And just like that, fellas, we have the car fabricated. So massive shout out to my boy Jack that came up from down the line. A purpose mish, 4 hours up here to blitz this out for me this weekend. So super chuffed with how it's all come out. Apologies, it was possibly the worst documented process of all time, but that was just how it ended up being. Between him getting here on Friday afternoon and both of us just kind of wanting to get stuck in, we kind of just made the most of the time that we had. I think I've relatively covered everything that we did anyway. It's all pretty self-explanatory. There's not a lot that you guys wouldn't have seen before. 3-inch, a mix between 2.5, 3-inch and 3.5 stainless everywhere. Got a couple of V-bands down the line in there. Got our fancy Turbo Smart hose clamps on here. Constant tension, boys. They're looking pretty sick now. You'll also see that we managed to make some modification to the manifold here, and we've got that all fitting back in. This one runner here that was sitting over there a fair bit too much, we have cut that up and managed to get it sitting in. My mate Nathan actually came and grabbed it and sorted it out for me, and we've moved the wastegate over to here, so I reckon that's a pretty gangster spot for it, to be fair. We'll just have to do some heat shielding on the body there because that's awfully close to the firewall now, but got that all looking pretty gangster. It makes the wastegate like a real statement piece, so pretty chuffed with how that's turned out. We finally managed to do something with this damn water neck system that the Speedtech intake manifold requires you to retain, so managed to get a little 38mm stainless buoy on there. That should eventually kind of link up with that. I managed to cut up a piece of silicone that will fit on there just nice. Not ideal, but it will get me going. I might do something a bit better with that at one point, but for the now, that'll do. Had it all test fitted and it didn't look too shabby. And we've got our PRP trigger kit on here. I did film a little bit of the process of installing this, but there's not a hell of a lot to really say. Basically, you've got a trigger wheel in there that replaces the factory cam gear cap, if you will, and then there's like a sort of a tall post, which is your timing signal, and then obviously the trigger plate as well, which is quite literally the only reason why we got this bad boy, because I just think it's the most gangster little piece. You'll see that I've got gone ahead and zinced the front timing cover bolts there too, and got some little M8 dress up washers to sort of blend in with the theme of the rest of it. And I think the rest is pretty much history. We take a quick look down here of how it's all sort of come out. You can probably all imagine what it looks like, but 3.5-inch downpipe into a bellow there, flexi, and then the rest of the exhaust is actually over there at the moment because we're welding on the wideband. Got Jax here supervising as per. And we have managed to modify the tabs on the factory GDR intercooler there to mount that in there nice and tidy. So that is her for now. I'm bloody stoked. It was a good little hustle on the car this weekend. Managed to tick off a bunch of little jobs. So now we've literally just got to really wire it up. There's a bunch of odds and ends, like I've got to plumb up the fuel system. Yeah, a bunch of hose fittings, got to figure out the catch can. One interesting thing that will be a bit of a challenge, by doing this kind of routing of piping, we have not left a lot of room for a power steering pump. So that does beg the question, with the theme that we've kind of gone, would be to just get rid of it altogether and go to some kind of electric setup, whether it's a electric steering column, like some people run out of the Corollas, the newer Corollas and Fielders, or to do the Astra pump thing, but then you need a LS alternator or a high amp alternator. So I'm not really too keen to do that if I don't have to, but we will figure that out. We can get it running without having to address that stuff. Ideally, we'll have it sorted so we can wire it in at the same time. Anywho, we will wrap this one up here anyway, guys. Sorry, it's been a little bit all over the place. I was hoping to break this up into 2 videos, but the way it sort of ended up going, but we just... They had a million things happening at once, and I was like, shit, I'll just film it all and then chop it up, and fucking here we are. So, anywho, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you shortly. Peace. Bye.